let's talk about if men and women can be friends. I've talked about this a little bit before, but this is a hot topic amongst me and my friends who are women. They do not feel like, well, first of all, the ones that are married do not feel like men and women can be friends. They don't feel like they should have any female friends or that their spouses should have female friends. I think this is insane. When I was married, my ex-husband had plenty of female friends. Now, before you're like, oh, you're not married anymore, that had nothing to do with our divorce. But yeah, I don't think it's a problem. I think it's a problem if you're married and all of a sudden you're getting new female friends. Yes. But if you had female friends in the past, I don't think it's a problem either. They also feel like if you're in a relationship with someone, you shouldn't have friends of the opposite sex. I also think that's not true. I have a ton of male friends. I will say the last guy I dated, he had it, well, not the last guy. The last guy was kind of the situationship, but the guy before that, he didn't like that I had male friends. And I think ultimately that caused issues. Even after I said, like, he had texted me a few times after we ended things. And he said something like, I don't know. And I said, oh, I think you want to be friends. And he's like, I can't be friends with you. You're attractive. I'm like, what? And I know the old When Harry Met Sally thing. Listen, what do you guys think? I absolutely think you can have friends of the opposite sex and only be friends, platonic friends. I have plenty of male friends. I don't think they want to sleep with me. If they do, they respect boundaries. I don't want to sleep with them. Complete boundaries. So what do you guys think? I absolutely think men and women can be friends.
How about new?
Oh, well, Colleen, well, this gorilla can say that I absolutely can tell you that the idea that you being a woman and having a bunch of male friends when you're married is going to bring problems. Even in relationships, it's going to bring problems. Before all of you femme fatales out there start hitting me up with, oh, gorilla, that's just misogyny and insecurity coming from your part. Sure, whatever. Part that stuff wherever you want. I'm talking about reality here. How many times have I heard from men that their ex-wives all of a sudden brings this new guy into their life and she says, oh, this is an old friend I knew from years before I met you. It's just we haven't talked that much in X amount of years. Sure. And not just that, the part that she said that, oh, well, some of my friends may just want to hook up with me and they're just respecting boundaries. No, more like they want to hook up with you and they're just waiting for their turn. I'm sorry, Colleen, but when it comes to relationships, women having male friends is a matter of rolling the dice. For a man, you could use all the shaming language you want, but a man is going to say, okay, if you use some simple logic, the easiest eggplant that you can get other than mine is the one that's closest to you, aka your male friends or your male co-workers, which women would call them friends too. And you can claim, oh, well, you're insecure or you just don't trust me. Most guys who have had relationships with women who've cheated on them with their male friends will just say, okay, take your pick. Don't care. If you want to have all these male friends, well, you and I are not going to have a relationship. I'm not going to roll the dice that way. Yeah, maybe it's strictly platonic and maybe it works out great in the long term, but also maybe not. Am I willing to risk investing my time and my resources and years of my life into a possibility of oops, you were going out with George and years nothing ever happened until that one night you and George got drunk together in your friendly ha ha ha, and before you knew it, you slipped, you tripped, you fell into his bed, and then he pounded you through the mattress. Whoops! Before we move on, I want to say thank you, fam, to all of my subscribers for supporting this channel. I truly appreciate all of you who leave comments, who like my videos, and share them on other social media platforms. I truly gotta say thanks, fam. If it wasn't for you, I wouldn't be here. And for those of you who haven't subscribed yet, I thank you for tuning in, and I hope you decide to hit that subscribe button. Moving on!
Do you ever consider dating a younger man? I am 57 years old, and I just had a 30-year-old swoop into my DMs. I have daughters, 33, 30, and 26. We could literally be dating the same guy. I don't think I could do it. Now, there is a 48-year-old man in North Dakota that I would date, but I'm not dating, so I'm not going to do that. But the thing is, I think that is just a mindset that us women really have to wrap our head around. Because if we're doing the friends with benefits and we don't want to get married again, like so many of us don't, why not find a guy, regardless of his age, that we have fun with? Because it's only temporary. So who really cares, right? Yeah, okay. That's where my mind is today. Have a great day.
All right, first of all, Queen, I gotta say, you said that you have daughters that are around the same age of the 30-some-odd-year-old guy that wants to date you, and you said that he could possibly be dating all of you together. What makes you think that's not his plan? But the rest of your video, Queen, just showed a lot of cope. Number one, when you said, okay, women your age have to change your mentality to be with a young guy because it's just fun. Sure, tell yourself whatever you need to tell yourself to justify riding the carousel. That's an awesome excuse. But the one big giveaway was when you said how women your age, so many of you don't want to be married. Cap, total cap. Come on. But I'm sorry, but queens your age are so close to retirement. The vast majority of you desperately want to be married because you want to be taken care of, especially the ones that were not good at managing their money. And by the looks of the way you're dressed and the car that you're in, I'm pretty sure you're in that category of less than ideal money management. Moving on.
What is wrong with people? Okay, story time. Dating over 50. Seriously? Okay, so met a guy on Facebook dating. Thought I'd give it a try. Okay, so it's free. I thought, good way to kind of vet people without spending a fortune on finding a big, catalog of losers. Well, it's just a free catalog of losers, apparently. Oh, God, I guess I'm one of them. I was on there too, so. But it just seems like, what is wrong with people? So, again, I agree. I meet this guy. We start chatting. We're getting along fine, but we're not really talking about anything real substantive. He wants to meet me pretty quick, which is fine because I thought maybe seeing someone in person over, drinks in a public place is the best place to really vet someone. So I saw his picture. He was pretty handsome, I thought. But you don't get any of the specs on Facebook. You don't get the height, you don't get the build, and he did put a lot of pictures on there. I don't mean to be super picky, but I do apparently have a type. I like a man taller than me, and maybe that makes me bad, but it's just what I like. So I walk into this dive bar on a Monday night, and there's maybe 6 people in there, and they all look to be 60-year-old pathetic men. And this guy, I'm looking around and I'm like, where's my date? And then he kind of waves at me, and he's this teeny tiny little man sitting up at the bar. And again, his picture had to be 20 years old. Just so aggravating. Be legit. My pictures are from last month. I am being real. I do not want to bait and switch. I do not want some guy to show up and go, you are not what I saw on your app.
She's going to sink, Captain.
But she can't sink. She's unsinkable.
She can't float.
All right, Colleen, this girl has got to start off being completely and totally fair. And your story about that gentleman giving you the bait and switch with a very old picture, all right, hey, I'll be the first to call it. That was completely wrong of the guy. This gorilla can't tell women, hey, you have to be upfront with who you are and accept who you are if the men are not willing to do that. If the guy's in his 60s and he's trying to sell you pictures, like if he's in his 50s or 40s, yeah, gentlemen, I gotta say, that's not the best strategy. That's rarely gonna work. Now, within me saying that, this woman is quickly making fun of the guy's height and preferences. Queen, have you looked in the mirror? The guy may have his deficiencies, but you are no prize. This attitude of, yeah, well, I have a type, and he's a teeny tiny guy, and I like a guy who's taller than me. Sweetheart, that was 20 years ago. You know what's funny there, sister? The guy's picture is almost as old as the requirements that you qualify for. When you said that Facebook dating is like a catalog of losers, and you say, maybe I'm one too because you're on there. No, there's no maybe on that. You definitely are. Your dating pool is a shallow puddle. You don't have a whole lot to choose from. The problem is you go into these dating apps thinking that you're still in your 20s and early 30s, that you could demand a whole bunch of things. You can't. A compromise has to be done. I admit that this guy isn't the compromise that you need to do, but if you walked up and you saw him and you didn't like what you saw, just walk away. There's no need to make a video about it. There's no need to belittle a guy because he's genetically not gifted. How would you like if a guy made a video saying, yeah, this 50-year-old woman who probably has a batch of health issues came in the bar thinking that she still rocked it like if she was 25. That would be childish. Something that you really can't justify. So far, I think that both of you are equally wrong here. Another thing that has to be mentioned, Queen, exactly what did you expect to get off a free dating app? Have you ever heard the phrase, you get what you pay for? You don't want to spend a fortune? Okay, well, you got what you paid for. A free date with a guy who's not your type. Listen, Queen, trust me when I say that the guys that are dating you are thinking the exact same thing. Yeah, I'm going to get a date with A dusty, crusty old woman. She may be younger than me, but that doesn't mean she's young. She's just younger. And I'm willing to do a compromise. I understand that it's not a wet rainforest down there. It's more like a Sahara desert, but that's okay. I got plenty of baby oil and KY jelly at the house, so we can make it work. But let's hear what else she has to say.
So I go in and sit down. I'm like, okay, you're over 50. You shouldn't judge a man just by how he looks. You know, that was more in my 30s. I should go for his substance. So again, here's another man who talks constantly about himself. Rarely asked me anything about me, just talked about himself and his, come to find out, soon-to-be ex-wife. Not even divorced, hasn't even filed yet. So that was already kind of like, oh, really? Okay. But, you know, I wasn't really like looking to get married tomorrow. So if somebody was just going to be a friend or a casual something, well, then something political showed up on the screen. And I am not going to get into my politics, and I'm not going to even discuss his politics. But I made a comment about it, and let's just put it this way. We were not aligned. Not even a little bit. And he goes off on his political stance. And when I shared that I was the opposite, he kept saying, who in their right mind would think this? And who in their right mind? I'm like, are you telling me I'm not in my right mind? So I looked at him and I got dinged for walking out and being rude the last time without just as much as a word. And I grabbed my purse and I said, we are clearly not aligned on this issue, and that's a deal breaker for me. Thank you for the drink. It was nice meeting you, but I'm going to call it a night. That was it. And I was gone within less than an hour. Ain't got time for this. What is up? Please tell me if you've had a better experience dating over 50, because I am really starting to think that just Netflix binging is my future.
All right. Before I continue on what I'm going to say, I have to call this out to all my female viewers who are married and are in this age bracket and are thinking you want to get back out there because you're not happy in your marriage. Pay attention to what she just said. This is the reality of what's out there. When you're dating in your 50s as a woman, I don't exaggerate when I say that your dating pool is a shallow puddle. Apart from everything that she said physically about this man, the reality is that yes, you will find men who are still married, who are going through divorces or about to file for divorce. Dating in that age bracket. That's par for the course. Before you decide to leave your husband, check it out. That's what you're going to find out there. And I agree with this queen when she said that both of them are not aligned. That's not going to work out. Having said that, again, to my female viewers, I have to point out the not so obvious to all of you. You see, in that age group, men tend to go in a certain direction politically. If you decide to start dating in your 50s and you think that the majority of the men that you're attracted to are going to be 100% aligned with you politically, then you're using some Forrest Gump logic right there. Stupid is, stupid does. I mean, think about it, queen. You don't have that many options, and somehow, someway, you expect them to be aligned with you in everything? If you haven't noticed, 80% plus of all the men that you're attracted to tend to lean in the opposite political direction that you're in. So your shallow puddle just got cut down another 80% more. Now, if everything went the way she said it went, and she did get a purse and thanked him for the drink and walked out, that's what you're supposed to do. Good on her. I'm giving this queen credit for at least that part. But the sad part of all this is that this wasn't her first date that went this way. It won't be her last date that's going to go the same way. I'm sorry, sister. The chances of you finding Mr. Right at this age are slim to none. But on the bright side, your actions are making the stock I own in pet stores and wineries go up every year.
Now that's a lot of damage!
I'm just saying, if you enjoy this audit, click on the video in the end screen for more content. If you would like to support the channel, please follow the link in the description to donate to our beer fund, or like, subscribe, and share this video on other social media platforms. If you agree or disagree with anything about this audit, please let us know in the comments. I'm going to leave this audit right here. I'll see all of you in the next episode.